Hey everybody, this is Greg Gossett from Gossett Trading and Mentoring Live, and today is Tuesday, October 13th, 2020, and we are again in the final hour of the trading day. I mention this each day, but the final hour of the trading day is my favorite time to make my buying and selling decisions for my swing trades. I say this because at the end of the day, of the large financial institutions coming in, they are dealing with a lot of size. They start making their moves at the end of the day. The enormous amount of buying and selling they do takes the control of the price away from the day traders who control it during the middle of the day. So anyway, thank you all for coming. Always nice to see everyone. I always look forward to this time of the day. I'm very grateful that we have such a great group and such great contributions from everybody. And I consider you all friends. So thank you so much for coming by. So, all right, here is... Well, let's take a look at the markets real quick. So red day across the board today. The Dow Jones is down 166 points, down 0.58%. The NASDAQ is down 4 points, down just 0.03%. And the S&P is down 21.68, down 0.61%. So the Dow is definitely getting the worst of it. So here's the plan for today. First of all, we're going to run the U.S. legal disclaimer. Secondly, we're going to come back, take a look at my current positions, talk about when I bought them, why I bought them, and how I'm going to manage them moving forward. After that, I have some day trades that I'm going to share with you. After that, we're going to go over to the board and take a look at your current trades, and we'll see how those are doing. I see kind of a mixed bag, some up, some down, but we'll go through and take a look at those. After that, we'll switch over to trader psychology. I mention this each day, but I really sincerely mean it. The plan that you come up with the trade, as long as you are positioning yourself correctly, as long as you're putting yourself in the position to have potential large gains and very often just small losses, you're going to do fine. But whether or not you can follow that plan is a whole different issue, and that's why trader psychology is such a hot topic, right? It's always that fear and that greed that we're having to battle within ourselves. So anyway, I like to talk about trader psychology. It helps me to verbalize it and talk about it every day, and I certainly hope that hearing it every day, it helps you, the different ways and the different approaches that I use to talk about it. So I hope it's helpful. After that, I have gone down through my watch list. I've gone down through the results of Kamal's scanner, and there are a few potential end-of-day candidates. I have 3 requirements whenever I'm looking to enter a trade. First, as always, confluence combination of indicators lining up on multiple time frames if possible. I look at each indicator like MACD and RSI, moving averages, ATR channels. I look at those as potential groups of buyers stepping in, and you will put yourself in the best position to have a profitable trade if you're in the company with as many other buyers as possible. If you're the only buyer and everyone else is selling, what chance do you have for it to go up, right? So we want to switch that around. We want to be in the company with as many other buyers as possible. That gives us the best possible situation for us to have a profitable trade. So confluence, combination of indicators on multiple time frames. Number 2, have to have a good risk to reward ratio. I mention this all the time, but you can have a great setup, but the risk to reward ratio doesn't make sense. Maybe it's a little chasey, right? I want to make at least 2 times to the upside minimum compared to what I would lose on the downside if I was wrong. And then number 3, please always consider how many positions you have, how much correlation you have, how much account heat you have. It's very important. It really is. I think that people spend the least amount of time on adjusting their position size based on volatility and taking a look at correlation. And I think, the devil's in the details in trading, like it is with a lot of other things. So I'm going to go down through the watch list, going to go down through the results of the scanner. Something looks good upon first pass, I will put it over in the potential candidate category. If it doesn't, we'll put it over in the not interested category. And then at the end of the day, I'll go down through the potential list. We'll go down with a fine-tooth comb, look at risk to reward, look at all the indicators, look at multiple time frames, and I'll try to pick the very, very best one at the end of the day. So that is the plan. And then If anybody has any questions after the market closes, please let me know. I'm happy to answer them. If you have any stock symbols that you would like me to look at before the market closes and you'd like to get my opinion on, please go ahead, put it in the chat, put an asterisk or emoji by it so I know it's time sensitive, and I'll do my very best to get to it. And then lastly, if you have any new entries or exits for me today, if you could please wait till the end of the day so that the market's closed, I'm done trading, I'm done teaching, and then I will be able to get them all taken care of. All right, so that's the plan. Hang tight. I'm going to run that U.S. legal disclaimer, and I'll be back in 40 seconds. Thanks. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Please carefully read and or listen to the U.S. government required disclaimer before watching this video or live stream broadcast. The video link and disclaimer text are located in the description section of this video or live broadcast, here and here. Thank you so much. All right, Johan is here. Hey, buddy. Good to see you. Hope you're having a good evening, my friend. Dan is here. Dan says, hi, Greg and Group. Hi, Dan. Good to see you. Gary M is here. Hello, Greg and Group. Hello, Gary. Nice to have you. Hey, Tracy. Good to see you, my friend. Hey, guys. I've missed you all. We have missed you also, Tracy. Thanks for coming back, and please say hi to Paxton for me. Johan says, forgot to update my positions yesterday. Add a Coke, add a workhorse. Oh, thank goodness you're at a workhorse. I was wondering, I was discussing that with Kamal. I said, I don't know if Johan was still in workhorse. Man, am I glad to hear that. In wing and add a CNK and NVX today. Okay. Johan, could you remind me at the end of the day about those new entries and exits, and then I'll get those put up there. So man, I'm glad you're at a workhorse. Whew. Quad is here. Hey, buddy. Good to see you. Good afternoon, Greg and Group. Good afternoon, Quad. Frank is here. Hello, sir. Nice to have you here as always. Bob is here, says hello, everyone. Hey, Bob, good to see you. Mark is here. Hi, Greg. Don't see RBA on the list of stocks. Is that one of yours, Mark? RBA? Oh, okay. Maybe you can remind me again, Mark, where you bought that. Sorry. Sometimes I go through and delete them or whatever. Sorry about that, but we'll get it back on. Nice going, by the way. That looks good. Karen, hey, Karen, good to see you. Hope you're having a good day, my friend. Always nice to see Karen. But yeah, Mark, please, if you could remind me at the end. Jose is here. Hello, all. Good afternoon. Hello, Jose. Nice to see you. I appreciate you coming back. Thank you. Steve Burns. Hey, Steve. Good to see you, my friend. Always nice to have the great Steve Burns here. Thank you for everything you do, Steve, and thanks for coming and joining us in the afternoon. It's a big honor. It really is. I'm always excited to see you. I know everyone else says. Steve says gold now has a 520 EMA cross under. Yes, it did. Yes, it does. I mean, and unfortunately, I'm right in the middle of that, so I'll have to get out of that at the end of the day. Steve says, I'm glad I got out of Goldman Sachs yesterday. Yes, that was definitely a good call. I'm going to be getting out of Goldman Sachs today. Earnings are tomorrow morning, so of course I never hold through earnings. So, all right. Well. Let me take a quick look over here. Blah, blah, blah. See how everything's going. Okay. All right. Let's take a look. All right. Steve just mentioned gold. I did, unfortunately, take gold yesterday at 180.57 with a 520 crossover. It's a good back-tested approach. Doesn't always work, obviously, but in the long run, using this approach has been more profitable than not using it. I bought this here at 180.57. You can see the 5 is now under the 20, so the price is under the 5 and the 20. The 5 is under the 20. I will go ahead, take this off, take the loss, and if the 5 crosses over the 20 again, I will buy it. You know, one thing I've noticed with these gold crossovers, they either work like crazy to the upside, they either cross over and just go screaming up, or they do exactly this, where they cross over and immediately dump on you. But trying to look at things positively. Currently, we are off the lows, so hey, better than selling it at the lows, although it might be there at the end of the day. But again, that's trading. Everything doesn't go up, and there's going to be extended period of times where nothing you do works. There's extended period of times where everything you do works. So anyway, I will be getting out of this today with the 520 crossover. Facebook, Quad, Kamal, Gary, Johan, and I did buy Facebook back here, 263.89, with the nice false breakout to the downside in the V2. Again, bought it at 263.89. Went up a little bit the next day. Yesterday, we had a huge day. You can see I just came within pennies of my first profit target today. If I would have been watching it, I would have probably just manually overridden it and sold it, but I didn't. You can see my profit target is at 279.27, and the high is 279.17, so it missed it by 17 cents. But if we rally at the end of the day, maybe we can go back up there. But this trade is up nice. It is up entry to current price 4.373%, so that's good. Happy with that. It's moved more than 1.5 ATRs for my entry, meaning that now I will go into trailing stop mode. If I get a close below the previous day's low, I will sell half. All right. If we're at a 60, 51 RSI, if we get up to the 70 RSI and it rejects it, I'll sell half, and then I'll go back into close under previous day's low mode to get out of the rest. But anyway, up today, which I'm grateful for on a down day. Lockheed Martin. Kamal, you see, I jinxed it. Kamal and I were discussing earlier Lockheed Martin. I said, Lockheed Martin's a champion. It's up over $1 today on a down day. And then I said, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. I jinxed it. Well, I guess I kind of did, because now it's down 11 cents. But I did buy it. Let me see. Am I the only one that bought this? Yeah, I'm the only one that bought this. I bought it at 388.26 with this higher low V1. 520 crossover, MACD went positive. I did buy at 388.26. It's 388.81, so it is up on the trade because I bought it a little bit before the close yesterday. So I am up on the trade, but it is slightly down. But it's holding pretty strong for something outside of tech. So it is up. I'm keeping it. SPY, real quick. I buy the SPY. SPY ETF tracking of the S&P 500 every day at the close. I hold it overnight. I take the overnight risk. I sell it first thing the next morning. I do this based upon a long-term backtest, the study from Liz Ann Saunders. She's at Bespoke Invest on Twitter since 1993. Two approaches here. One, buy the SPY at the open, hold it through the day, sell it at the close. If you use this approach every day since 1993, you return a negative 13.9% return. However, did the opposite. This is the one that I use. Buy the SPY at the close, hold it overnight, take the overnight risk, sell it first thing the next morning. This is a positive 634.2% return. So big difference between when you buy it and sell it and when you buy it and sell it. One's negative 13.9, the other is positive 634.2. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. It may never work again in history in the future, but it has worked well. And if I'm going to allocate money towards a trade, it's going to be something that works well. And over time, the blue line has worked really well. The orange line, not so hot tamale. Even though this has worked well over the long run, there are significant drawdowns. So be prepared for that. It doesn't just go straight up. Nothing goes straight up. So if you're considering using this approach, start with the very conservative position size. I would just, if you wanted to start off the bat, 5% is very, very conservative. Yeah, if you have a $100,000 trading account, 5% is $5,000. Buy $5,000 in the evening, hopefully sell it for $5,050 the next morning, something like that, right? So my buy entry and sell entry were so close I couldn't even put them on here. I bought them yesterday at the close at 352.43. I sold it at 52.31. So I lost 12 cents. 12 cents overnight on the trade, but obviously I'm glad that I got out when I did because it dumped pretty good right after. So of course I will be buying this again today at the close. SPY, I have another SPY trade here. With Dan and Brian, I did buy the SPY with the 1050 EMA cross. I bought it here at 333.82. And you can see this has been a really, really, really nice trade. No profit targets today. It is down a little bit today, but from entry to exit, it is up 4.84%. So not too shabby. All right. Monster Energy. Let's see. We have Yas, David, Johan, Gary, and Steve Burns, and myself did buy Monster Energy back here with the 1050 EMA cross. We bought it here at 80.97. Had a nice big up day yesterday. I hit 2 profit targets today. One right here at the open at 83.64, and then one right near the top at 84.41. It has moved more than 1.5 ATRs from my entry, so I will go into trailing stop mode, but this is up nicely, so I'm grateful for that. Grateful that I hit a couple profit targets today on a day like today. Goldman Sachs. I think I'm the only one left in Goldman Sachs. Steve sold it yesterday. I bought it here at 199.94 with a 520 crossover. It's been a really nice trade. Moved just up nicely. Hit profit targets yesterday. Is down today, is down 1.6%. But from entry to current price, it is up 5% on the trade. So I will be getting out of this today at the close because tomorrow there are earnings in the morning and I never hold through earnings. Qs. All right. I did buy Qs back here with the 520 crossover at 277.80 with the 520 crossover. Went up nicely. Next day came down, closed below both the 5 and the 20. This is a warning signal for me, so I took off half my position, which is kind of a bummer because it went racing up. But it's also kind of a nice thing because I held half my position. So no profit targets today. We are to 64.27 RSI, so we're getting pretty toppy up there. But this has been a wonderful trade and no profit targets today. It has moved more than 1.5 ATRs from my entry. So if I get a close below the previous day's low, I'll sell half. Or if it rejects the 70, I'll also sell half. And then if I get a close below that subsequent previous low, I'll sell the other half and get out. But Qs are up today, so that's good. Let me check over here. Yeah, okay, good. Yep, Qs are up now. The index is up now as well. So those are the trades. Gold down 1.57%. Facebook up 0.5%. Lockheed Martin down 0.14%. S&P was basically a break-even trade there. Monster up 0.86%. Goldman down 1.68%. And Q's up 0.2%. So anyway, kind of a mixed bag. Gold was the real stinker of the day, but again, I will be selling that today because my rules call for that. All right, couple day trades. I am happy to announce that I have made a personal best 11 days in a row of positive day trades. So I got that going for me. So I'm really happy for that. I've had some good trades here today. First trade was on the Qs. When I saw this, I was like, you know what? I am going to take this trade just because so I can talk about it. It's such a good example. See the big 5-minute bar down here? See the big down bar? Well, we know if we rally up to about halfway of that bar, we're going to run into some Fibonacci resistance. Well, look what happened here. I took the short here because it was right at the halfway. Here's the big down bar. It moved halfway back up. We also had a confluence of the 50-day moving average in the 1 ATR channel, and my risk to reward was really good. If it had closed back above the 50, then that was my line in the sand. I'd get out, hopefully for a small loss. If I was right, I had some easier movement to the downside. And so, this is the kind of trade I didn't really have a real trigger. It was more of a zone kind of trade where I was like, retraced halfway back, had the 50, had the confluence. So I knew that there was going to be 3 areas of resistance there, and it's exactly what happened. And you can see it went down. I shorted it, right? So it went down, Here it formed a V1 on the third bar. I got out and covered the hole right here, 290.40. So I shorted at 295.40. I got out at, is that 40? Oh, 42. 290, dang it, 295.42. I got out at 294.40. So I made $1.02 on the trade, which was pretty good. For 15 minutes. Let's see now. Did I just mess up my, no, I didn't. Okay. Secondly, had a trade here on Apple. Right here, we had a 520 crossover in the value zone. The 5 crossed over 20. I got in at 123.60. It immediately moved nicely my way. Then it moved more than 1.5 ATRs from my entry. Then I had a close below the previous day's low. So I locked in half at 125.04. Right? So I got in here at 123.60, moved up, closed below previous day's low at 125.04, and then because I was more than 1.5 ATRs from my entry, if it came back to my entry, I would get out at break even. So on this bar, it came down. So I essentially bought at 123.60, locked in profits at 124.05, and the second half that I had left, I sold right at break even. So 2 good day trades there today. Kamal, you and I were talking about buying over the 200-day on Apple, and I said I would do it if it came back. It never quite got there. I guess this probably would have been the best placed here with this little V2 and the close above the 200, but it has moved up nicely since then, so we definitely were looking in the right area. Okay, speaking of Apple, Quad, Frank, and Gary have Apple. Frank is in Apple at 111 even. It is now 122.06. So he's up over $12 on the trade. Very, very nice, Frank. Quad and Gary bought at 116.31. So 4, 5, 6, about over $6 in profit on the move as well. So everybody making money on Apple, even though it is down today. Steve says 11 days in a row of profitable day trades is epic. Well done. Thanks, Steve. I appreciate that. Yep. I was, I'll tell you, I took that first trade and I was like, maybe I should just stop. That way I can lock it in. And I was like, no, that's no way to think. So I went on, took that second trade, which I did. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate that. Kamal says, Frank, no poem today. Kamal says, good trading on the 11-day run, Greg. Thank you, Kamal. Appreciate that. Steve says, if I managed a hedge fund, I would hire Kamal. I'm telling you, Kamal is 5 stars, man. Kamal is 5 stars for sure. Gary says, congrats, Greg. Nice run. Hope it continues. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate that. Hi, David. Good to see you. David says, great run. I remember when I started to follow you, you were not day trading. Yeah, well, I made an arrangement with a friend of mine whose account I manage that we came to an arrangement for me to day trade his account. And so I used to wake up at 10 o'clock in the morning. I used to go to bed at 2 and 3 and then wake up at 10 and lackadaisically come over to my computer. But since I took on this job of trading that account, I go to bed about midnight. I wake up at 7 and then I day trade all day. So yep, things definitely changed. Frank has a poem. Rules. We make them our tools or maybe a weapon when the market turns cruel. But if there's one thing we can learn from our trading school is to learn how to swim before you jump in the pool. Man, so good. All right, let me copy that and then let me read it one more time after I paste it over here. Rules. We make them our tools or maybe a weapon when the market turns cruel. But if there's one thing we learn from our trading school is to learn how to swim before you jump in the pool. Absolutely. Rules, we have to have them. And I promise you, whatever rule you have, One day you'll break it and you wish you had not. And there will be another time where you follow it and you wished you had not. It's unforgiving. You're going to be disappointed whether you follow your rules or whether you break your rules. But you have to have rules. Rules are like a brake in a car. You have to have a brake, right? John says, congrats, Greg. Awesome streak. Now make it 12. I am definitely going to try, for sure. Kamal says, wow, that is a high praise coming from you. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Frank. I needed that poem. Oh, good. See, even Steve needs this kind of stuff, right? Steve is human. Although when you look at his results, you don't think he is, but he is human. And you know, it's good to, no matter who you are, sometimes there's a good message. Dave says, yes, good for you, Kamal. Johan says, Frank's poem has become a tradition. I would say, you know, I guess I started this podcast, but I really feel like this podcast is Steve and Kamal and Frank's podcast as well, because they all contribute so much to it. Dan says, Frank, really good. Steve says, Kamal, I love how you quantify and analyze. I agree. Thanks, guys, for making it fun, says Frank. Steve says, trading rules are a promise you make to yourself when the market is closed to not do anything stupid when the market is open. That's true. We're always good at our rules when the market's closed, right? Like fantastic. But for some reason, when the market opens and the lights start blinking, it gets a little fuzzy, right? Sometimes it gets a little fuzzy, but you can't let it do that. All right, let's take a look now. Here we go. UGL. This is double leverage gold. Steve bought this yesterday at 71.24 based upon the 520 crossover in GLD. So he used GLD as his signal, but then he expressed the trade in UGL, which unfortunately today is double leverage. So it is down 3.3%. The 520 did cross under on GLD. So Steve, I'm sure, will be exiting this today. Coca-Cola. All right. Gary, Johan, Yas bought Coca-Cola back here, 49.63. I bought this here also. We had a nice consolidation, a nice little breakout V2. Moved up beautifully for 3 days, although it is down 1.68% today. I sold it yesterday, thankfully. In hindsight, of course, I never knew, but the rejection of the second ATR channel, and it also had rejection over here. So that was kind of my thinking. Could have gone either way. But anyway, Gary, Johan, and Yas is down today, unfortunately, but they are still up on the trade. Workhorse. Oh, see, I had Johan in here at 23.81, and I was scared that I know Kamal got out yesterday, but I wasn't sure that Johan did, and I'm thrilled to hear that Johan did, because this baby's down 13.28%. And so the nimble traders of Kamal and Johan did make money on this trade, even though this reversed negatively. So let's get Mr. Workhorse out of there. QLD. Yas and Steve have had a nice trade on QLD, which is double leveraged Qs. Bought it here at 92.95 with the 1030 EMA crossover. It is now up a whopping 10.10%. Congratulations, Steve and Yas. Excellent, excellent. Amazon, another great trade by Steve and Glenn. I think I have Glenn here at entering at 29.61. So he's had a monster trade. Steve has entered at 32.83.02 with the 1030 EMA cross. So both of them up very nicely on the trade, and it is up today as well. So good relative strength there. We're at a 64.30 RSI, so you know we're kind of getting into that area where you might want to keep an eye on it, because we are getting up into that 70 RSI level. Hopefully we get up there anyway. Google. Gary has had a beautiful trade on selling puts on Google. He sold Google puts down to $1,200. It is now $1,580, meaning that he will keep all the premium for writing these contracts if it stays above $1,200 by November 20th. I'm sure he is at least 60, 70, 75% of the premium that he's going to get. I'm sure he's already has that with this nice move up. When you sell puts, it's a bullish position. You want the market to go up when you sell puts. So congratulations there. Here's a beauty, Frank. Frank bought LVGO at 132.50, went up, then it was kind of nasty, back down. He sold half, still at a profit, kept the other half, and I'm sure glad he did, because this thing is up 6.63% today alone, and Frank is up 10.88% on the trade overall. Chewy quad. Look at this. This is great. Bought this break of this fractal. Bought it here at 58.92. It is now 66.66, up 3.44% today, up 11.49%. Many congratulations, quad. Man, you guys have had some great trades. Proud of you. Alibaba. Johan bought Alibaba back here at 276.70 with just the simple 520 cross. Went up like a monster, like a champion. Johan did sell half a couple days ago when it rejected, which is a good, I think a good move, good conservative thing to do, because it was having issues with this third ATR channel. But I'm glad he kept half, because it is up 1.17% today and up 10.6% on the trade. Holy smokes. Intel, Intel did manage to go up. Okay, Gary, again, the put seller, sold puts November 20, 45.40 put spreads, meaning that if Intel stays above $45 by November 20th, Gary will be able to keep all the profit from selling the premium. It is up today. It's at 54. He almost has $9 of protection. I'm sure he's realized 70+% of the premium that he's going to get. Okay, Gary, on this trade, bought calls, did not sell puts, but bought calls, November 20, $35 strikes on Exxon, meaning that Exxon has to be above $35 by November 20th, plus what he paid in the time in order to be profitable. Currently, it's at 34.21, so it's out of the money. There's no intrinsic value yet, but he has time value left, so I imagine he's down on this trade so far, but he does have until November 20th. And of course, you don't have to keep this, right? Everybody knows about options. Doesn't mean you have to hold it, but if you do hold it, that's why. Okay, CNK. Okay, Kamal and Johan. This was the Cinemark holding trade. They bought at 878, the under 30, over 30 plus the V2. Decent signals, but down 8.73% today, unfortunately. I think Kamal probably hit his emergency stop. I don't know if Johan did, but yeah, sorry about that one, guys. IWB, another nice trade here from Steve Burns with the 530 SMA cross. Bought this at 190.118. It is now 196.93. Up 2.95% from entry. Congratulations, Steve. Dexcom, Johan bought Dexcom at 393.10. Oh, good. Moved up nicely today, up 1.82%. So Johan is up in the money. Congratulations. Up on the day, up on the trade. Walmart, Brian bought Walmart at 140.69. A bit of a cup and handle here. Although here's the cup, but a cup has to actually come down and then up to 75% of the move down. So it would have to come up here and then have a handle. But this is a beautiful kind of representation of a cup and handle, but this cup's not valid, but it, this is a good example of what it would look like. And then this would be the buy when you take out this high. But very, very nice there, Brian. And of course, Brian bought it for a different reason back over here at 140.69. IAU, okay, Frank has IAU. IAU is like GLD, it's gold, and so this one is down today like the rest of the gold. And then lastly, we have CRM. Brian bought 251.20. It is now 267.61, up 0.2% today, but up 6.15%. So fantastic. What I'm really glad to see, everybody, is that people are cutting their losers quick. Remember the analogy, let's not have a lot of weeds in the garden. Losses are weeds. Let's keep those out of our garden. And, everything I see here, almost everything, is a green or profitable trade. And that is the key. Okay, so listen, before we start looking for end of the day trades, before we start looking at the results of Kamal's scanner, just want to switch gears real quick, talk about trader psychology, the importance of it, the importance of creating a plan and then following it, and all the challenges that go along with that. But this is Trading Composure, at Trading Composure on Twitter. A super great channel. If you have not subscribed to this channel, I would highly recommend that you do. He really gets into the nitty gritty and the nuances of trader psychology, and he spends a lot of time on it by posting these on here on Twitter, because he knows how important it is. And it is the number one skill you'll learn in trading. It's not your entries and your exits and your setups and the this and the that and the this. It's your trading psychology. It's following your plan. So let's see what Trading Composure has to say. The best traders stick to their approach, and they fully understand and accept that they will have periods of underperformance, because no approach will work all the time. So true. Again, the best traders stick to their approach. Do you ever know that guy that he'll use one approach, it doesn't work, he'll switch to another approach, that doesn't work, he'll switch to another approach, that doesn't work? It's like when you drive and you get frustrated, you go into the one lane because it looks like it's moving, and then it slows, and then the other lane that you were just in starts moving, so you switch back and then that one slows. It's exactly what he's talking about, right? If you have a good trading approach that has an edge, stick with it. Yes, you have to understand and accept that they will have periods of underperformance. Things don't work all the time. 520 crossover on GLD works pretty well in the long run. It didn't work today, but that doesn't mean I'm never going to use it again and go, I'm tired of that GLD 520 crossover. Didn't work today, but it could work great the next time, right? So keep that in mind, because no approach will work all the time. That's absolutely it. When you make money, you're in phase with the market. When you lose money, you're out of phase with the market. We can't always be in phase with the market. It would be nice for sure, right? But you just have to have an approach that does win more than it loses, that has an edge over time. But you have to realize that just because you have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 losing trades in a row doesn't mean it's not a good approach. So the best traders stick to their approach, and they fully understand and accept that they will have periods of underperformance or drawdowns, because no approach will work all the time. So true. Thank you, Trading Composure. And if you haven't followed him, he's at Trading Composure over on Twitter. All right, let me make a little adjustment here. And one over here like so. Okay, I think we've got everything. How are we doing on time? 1:40. Kamal says, I took my largest emergency stop loss in CNK. Yeah, I imagine. Frank says, I second that emotion on Kamal. Excellent trader. 100%. Unbelievable trader. Kamal says, the Disney news was not cool with CNK. Right, because they're theaters. Kamal says, Frank, can I set an intention for your poems? Kamal says, there is a part of my trading that I need to improve. That is selling at a profit. So the intention would be selling. Frank says, if they help, of course you can use them. Frank says, I mean, compose future poems with the intention of selling. Ah, very good. Yes, says, really like this term, Greg, in phase with the market. Get in phase with the market. That's all. That's it. When you're making money, you're in phase of what it's doing. When you're losing money, you're out of phase. You're long and the market's short. You're a trend trader and the market's choppy, right? You're a dip buyer and the market just doesn't dip. It keeps going down. So that's true. That's an old saying. You are welcome. Okay, well, let's take a look just real quick. Let me take a look at current positions before I look at new ones. Yes, gold I will be getting out of, clearly 520 crossing under. Very glad that it's off of its lows though, so that helps. So I will be taking a loss here on gold. Facebook, oh, getting kind of close to my second profit target, but that's nicely up, so that's a keeper. Lockheed Martin, champion, is back to green again, so I will be keeping Lockheed Martin. SPY, we'll be buying SPY at the close as always. Monster, hit the 2 profit targets already today, so that's good. I will be holding that. Goldman Sachs making a nice little comeback here at the end of the day. I will 100% be selling all of my Goldman Sachs today, locking in profits because earnings are tomorrow morning. And then Q's, of course, I have the 520 crossover. This is up as well. And then Apple was my day trade stuff today. I can hear the magpies out there. They literally come here and squawk at me until I come outside with dog food. I have some of Katie's dog food left out, so I go out and feed them every day. And now they're getting bossy, little bossy pants. They're like, hey, you dude in the house, please, we need some kib. Okay. Not a lot on the scanner today, honestly. First on board is AT&T. Now, my students will know when we talk about double bottoms with bullish divergences, this is a big one. See the low with the deep MACD bars? See the rally to the nice green bars? See how we have now come down and equaled this low? But look at the MACD bars. They're little tiny, little nothing, just a little red speck. This is a major double bottom with the bullish divergence. This is also an ATR divergence. Look at this low here. See how we were like 3.25 ATRs? See, now we're just as low, but we're not even to the -2 ATRs. That is called an ATR divergence. We also have an RSI divergence. Here's a low with deep RSI. Here's a low with not so deep RSI. So when I look at this, it's very bullish. It looks very bearish, but it has a double bottom, bullish divergence, ATR divergence, RSI divergence. And when all that happens, I need some kind of trigger, right? Just because it happens, I can't just go ahead and buy, but I need some kind of trigger. Well, my trigger would be a close over the 30 RSI. It clearly went under the 30 RSI. Now it is 30.11. So scary to buy here. I completely understand. It doesn't mean it's going to go up. It could just crash down tomorrow, but that could happen anytime, any day with any trade. So as long as AT&T closes above 30 RSI, I will get in the trade. I will buy AT&T at the close for a good risk to reward ratio. If it closes under the 30, I won't buy it, I'll pass. But if it closes above 30, it gives me a good risk to reward ratio for possibly moving all the way up into this area. If I'm wrong, even a close at 29.99 tomorrow would get me out. And that's the whole key, having big picture setups like the double bottom, bullish divergence, ATR divergence, RSI divergence. And if it could close a little higher, we'd also have a false breakout of this low here. So, but right now it's 30.11. So to be determined, but I do like this trade. Let's look over at the weekly real quick. Nothing too great on the weekly. It's kind of neutral. But right now, again, 29, well, it's switching all over. But if it closes above the 30 RSI, I will buy AT&T today. Haven't traded AT&T in a while. Here's Love. This looked better earlier. This is Southwest Airlines. Earlier, we had a higher low V2 over the 200-day. See, here's day one. Here's day two. Day two washes out day one. Earlier in the day, it had closed above day one's close, which was right close 39.19. Come on now. My charts are slow today. They better not give me problems. So anyway, I would consider buying Southwest Airlines if it configured this V2, triggered this V2 with close back over the 200-day, and probably looks like a rejection of the 50. But again, I like buying higher low moves better than lower low moves. Lower low moves tend to go up and fail. Higher low moves tend to keep and go higher and have the potential for longer legs up. So, but it's not there. I'm not going to buy it with just the close over the 200. I want a confluence of signals. So close over the 200 and a V1 would be what I would be looking for. So that is definitely a potential. Here's W. Well, we came into the value zone. We had a lower high. We washed out the low, but there's not really a V2 here to speak of. It looks like there's a V2 if you have this as bar 1, bar 2, bar 3, but we have this little guy in the middle. Although it is an inside bar, you can just kind of move it over there and it would disappear inside there. Under 50, over 50, which is good. Weekly has the support of the 1 ATR channel below it. It's decent. It's decent. Day one's bar is a little bit larger than 1 ATR. The false breakout helps it. It's decent. RH, ooh, that's nice. That's a nice higher low V2, but here's what I'm talking about. Really good signals. We have breakout over here. We have a fractal breakout over here. It's a higher low V2, but it's a little chasey. If I bought this, my stop would be down here halfway of the washout bar. That's a lot of risk. Can I make 2 times or more to the upside of that? You know, maybe, but I kind of doubt it. I mean, we have this high over here, which certainly probably going to come into play. So at the very best, this is a 1-to-1 scenario, risk to reward ratio, and it's not even quite 1-to-1. So I think I'm going to let that one go. But that is nice and strong, and that certainly could keep moving up, but it just doesn't fit my criteria. Lope, man. You know, I do like this V1 a lot. What is this? Grand Canyon Education. I don't know what that is. We closed below the -1 ATR channel. We came into the value zone here. When we close below and come back in and look for a higher low V1, we don't need sideways motion. You need sideways motion when you're above the value zone. You have return to value. But having sideways motion is always good, and I like this V1 a lot. Unfortunately, it only trades 78,122 shares. So that precludes me, excuse me, that precludes me from buying it. But that's kind of too bad because it's a false breakout to the downside and a V1. MACD is positive, but what's going to keep me out of this trade is it only trades 78,000 shares. BZUN. Well, pretty strong. Nice today, but just too high for me here. It has a 520 crossover. I don't know how that back tests, but even if it did back test well, it already rejected the second ATR channel, which is a little concerning to me. So I'm going to have to let that one go. Disney. Of course, we saw the news out of Disney. You know, as is right now, this is a bit of a bearish bar. Yes, we are definitely higher than yesterday's close by 3.3%, but we are lower than today's open. This is a bit of a bearish bar. It means there was a lot of sellers that came in here. I mean, the price is even lower than where it gapped up at. On the plus side, it's holding the 50-day moving average underneath, but just in general, these kind of bars I don't like. And if we switch back over to, oh shoot, what's Workhorse again? Workhorse had a similar bar to this before it had the big move down. Camp. Cal Amp. Higher low, close back above the 200 day. Does it have a 520 crossover? Not quite. I just don't quite see here. I mean, it says good. It's holding the 200 as support. It's holding the 50 RSI as support. But this only traded 133 shares. So that one is, I'm going to have to put away. Activision has a 520 crossover. I don't know how that back test. I don't know, Kamal, if you're listening. But I don't know how that back tests. But if it does back test, that would be definitely be a possibility. So we'll move this over here. How am I doing? 9 minutes. IT. Higher low, close back above the 200s. Decent. MACD's positive. I think I like these the best though. AT&T currently it's hanging right at that 30 RSI. Isn't that amazing how it's finding support? Right now it's under, so I wouldn't touch it. Love, not triggering the V2. W, let's look over on the weekly. Yeah, holding the 1 ATR channel. W is okay. It's okay. This bar here concerns me a little bit. It's larger than 1 ATR. And ATIV is pretty strong today. Kamal, could you do ATVI? I'm sorry, on the 520 crossover. Kamal says DKNG. Yeah, has a higher low V1, that's for sure. And I really prefer those higher low V1s to come down, come up a little bit higher, have a couple days down, and then have a higher low V1. It's okay. I'm not going to take it, but it's okay. Not great. I would have to say not great. Frank says, maybe I did an inception with you. Let's see if selling flows out of you over the next few days. Zach says, I bought DKN a month ago. It's more of a long-term hold for me. No need to add, but watch the chart. Good. Kamal says, I've been calling you Pablo Nerarda of trading. Cool. Frank says, I'll ask my imagination to see if it will take requests. Great. Bob says, FYI, AT&T paid a 52% dividend on 10/8, so I'm not seeing an RSI under 30 over 30. Not sure if that's important. Well, your charts, Bob, are probably not factoring in the dividend. That's why you and I have different readings. And Kamal, that's maybe why you had different readings today as well, because we talked about it earlier. It's hanging right there at that 29.99 mark, so I'll watch it. Thanks, Bob. Quad says, might be a nice short on Disney. I don't think I'd short it. I don't think I would short it. It's not very positive, but it is positive. It's not very positive with its reversal bar, but it is positive that it bounced off the 1 ATR channel and the 50-day moving average. So it's neutral to bearish, but not enough bearish for me to short. Steve says, I did exit UGL here, 68.86 due to the 520 crossover. Yep, I imagine you did. And I am going to also. So let me go ahead and do this. Let's see. We only have 5 minutes. Let me take care of business first, current business. So I'm going to get rid of gold. Take the loss on gold. Okay. Okay, gold is gone. I am also going to sell Goldman Sachs. because of earnings tomorrow. All right, so Goldman Sachs is out of there. Keeping Facebook, keeping Lockheed Martin with its monster 1 penny gain today. Buying the SPY as per usual. Monster, the best one of the day. Goldman Sachs I just sold. All right, so now it comes down to what do I want to do with AT&T? It's just stuck right there, isn't it? Right there, 30, 31, 30, 31. Love is getting close to triggering that V1. Close above the 200. I didn't even write these numbers down, so let me do that real quick. Oh, 3 minutes. Come on, Greg. Okay, so love is a potential, but it would have to trigger that V1. W, I'm going to let that one go. Although I like it, I do kind of like it, but this day 1 bar is going to take me out of that. And ATVI, let me see. Okay, Gary, I'll look at that after the market closes. So you can see 30.11 right now on AT&T, and this is with adjusting for dividends. It's now 30.23. So that most likely that's the one I'm going to look at is AT&T. Okay, 2 minutes to go. NASDAQ went back negative. 1 penny spread on T, which I would imagine closing in 1 minute. So this is going to be really, really close here. $30 seconds. It's going to be near impossible for me to do this because I have to do this for 2 accounts and it's so close. Okay. And unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do it in this other account. So one of us will be happy. So it did close above 30. Okay, good. Good, good, good. So I did buy AT&T with the double bottom bullish divergence, close above 30 RSI. If it closes below 30 tomorrow, I am out of there. All right, well, let's see where I bought everything. Okay. Bought SPY at 350.13. I bought AT&T at 27.74. I'm out of gold, but I'm glad it closed off of its low, so let's stay positive about that. AT&T I bought at 27.74. Scary trade. I would admit it is a scary trade, but that was the trigger. And then SPY 350.13. Okay, that's it. That's it. And out of Goldman Sachs, because of earnings. So I'm out of gold, out of Goldman Sachs. I'm keeping Facebook, which is positive. I'm keeping Lockheed Martin, which is positive by 40 cents. SPY, overnight SPY trade, of course, we just talked about that. Monster, nicely positive on that trade, so keeping it. AT&T I just bought. Q's, nicely positive on that one, so I'm keeping. And then Apple. Remember I told you I sold my puts yesterday on Apple, so that happened to be a good move because I had like 71, 72% or whatever it was of the premium. It's kind of similar to Gary with all the premium that he sold. So I am now flat. Apple. Okay, so listen, if you have any new additions or subtractions for me, if you could, even if you put it in the live stream up higher, if you could maybe redo it again, that way I can make sure I get them all straight and connected and correct. And but before I do that, I just want to remind everybody that I do offer private one-on-one coaching and teaching lessons in the evening time via Skype. I love to teach. I think I'm pretty good at it. I've had really good results with my students. I've traded for over 24 years. I studied one-on-one with some of the greats out there, great traders, great authors like Stephen Burns and Dr. Alexander Elder and Kerry Lavorne and Larry Williams. In the course that I teach, I incorporate everything I've learned from these four gentlemen and put it there in the course. The course is 15 hours. 5 sessions, 3 hours a piece, so a total of 15 hours. It's one-on-one, it's very intensive, lots of repetition. I teach the lesson for that night, then we talk about it. I have you teach it back to me, then we spend the rest of the night looking at charts, just going through random charts, looking for setups. Where's your entry? Where's your exit? Are you in here? Are you out here? Did you take profits? Where's your ultimate profit target? Where's your emergency profit target? But it's just repetition, 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 repetition. I think really that's what makes it a good course. So if you are interested, you can reach out to me. You can send me an email. Email's in the description of this video. You can also send me a message on Twitter. And if you do reach out to me, I will reply, say, hey, how's it going? Let's do a Skype call. Skype call is just for me to get to know you better, learn about your trading and what you're looking for in a course. It's a good time for you to ask me questions about the course. I will never ask you if you want to sign up for the course or take the course. It's not a sales call. I promise you that. I wouldn't do that to you. When we're done, I'll just say, hope I answered your questions. Think about it. If you want to take the course, you can email me back and we'll get it set up. So that's that. And then if you could hit the thumbs up button today, everybody, I really would appreciate that. It helps grow the channel, helps keep the channel around, lets YouTube know there's some valuable information here, but only if you felt like it was helpful, right? Okay. Steve Burns, I know, is at a UGL. Don't you notice that, Steve, that the 520 crossovers on GLD, they either work great right away or they dump right away. That's what I've noticed. Okay, Steve, got you out of there. Spot was a few pennies for my moving average crossover. Didn't trigger. Now 6% up today. Oh, that was yesterday. Dang it. I remember that. Zach said, I had spot today, Steve, but I can't take too much credit. Just happened to be another one of my long-term holds. Kamal is at a CNK, I would imagine. Oh, I just took Johan out of there, but I know he's going to be out of there anyway. Okay. D, K, and G. All right. Let's get Kamal and D, K, and G then. And somebody earlier in the show had a bunch of entries and exits for me. Maybe it was Johan. I think it was Johan. If you could remind me of what those were. Oh, you read my mind. Zach says, Greg, can you clear one item up for me? If you take a swing trade, if it dips to 5% the next day, do you have to automatically set to sell, or do you always wait till the end of the day? Yeah, if your emergency stop, Zach, is a 5%, you know, Steve uses a 10%, other people use 5%, but yes, if it gets to your 5% emergency stop, you do not wait till the end of the day, because you've already made a decision in your head what the maximum amount you're going to lose on any one trade. So if it gets there, even if it's 3 minutes after the market's open, you sell it. Yes, if it's an emergency stop, you do not wait till the end of the day. Quad says, hey, Greg, I am out of everything. All right. Oh, I like the exit on Chewy on the strength there. Very nice, Quad. Quad has turned into quite a trader, man. I'll tell you what. Hey, Quad, remind me of your YouTube channel again. Quad has a YouTube channel about fishing. So if anybody's interested in fishing, Quad has his own channel. Pretty cool, right? So if he's still there, if you could remind me what the channel is. And okay, so Quad is out of Apple and out of Facebook. I'm nervous now. Quad's dumping everything. What's going on? Quad's that good that when he starts selling everything, I get nervous. And, okay, so you had UGL. I thought you had GLD. All right. Okay. Well, you've had some good winners too. Johan is out of Coca-Cola. I think that was yesterday. Out of Workhorse. Okay, that's the one thank goodness. Oh, and you're in Wing. Somebody else had Wing also. Oh, Kamal, did I skip over Wing? Sorry, buddy. Your good trade on the day. I think I accidentally skipped it over. Look at Kamal. Kamal bought at 132 even, now 134.49, up 1.92% today. Fantastic. And okay, Johan also bought. Johan bought when Kamal bought. I'll tell you what, being in Kamal's company is pretty good on a lot of trades. Not always, not always. Disclaimer, don't always work. He had an emergency stop today as well, right? Out of CNK, yes, we talked about that. In NVAX. I remember you talking to me about NVAX. Everybody has their favorite trades, I have noticed. Oh, you were in NVAX yesterday. Ooh, even better, up 6.41%. Way to go, Johan. Man, some of my students are turning into like Gordon Geckos. Nice going, Johan. 6.41, that's a beauty, eh? And AT&T. Gotcha. Frank is at IAU for a tiny loss, so it sounds like he sold that earlier. Okay, very nice. Keep it little. Mark, RBA, 6061 with the crossover. Okay. 60, 61 with the 520 crossover, which happened RBA entry 61 to MACD positive and 50. Okay, so maybe our 520 crossover is different because this crossed over here, but maybe you got it a little late. Okay, but I got it. I got it when it crossed over, so I think that's right. Okay, Kamal says criticism on DKNG. So, you know, I mentioned this before, but look, here's the value zone, the two green lines. Then we close below the value zone. The best higher low V1s, V2s happen when you come below the value zone, move into the value zone a little bit, then have a couple days down before you have the V1 or V2. And ideally, MACD is another thing. As a matter of fact, I need to talk to you about that as far as your scanner, Kamal. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Higher low V1s, V2s back in the value zone if MACD are much stronger. So, you know, this barely came into the value zone. It rejected the 20 right there already. And it only had one down day before the higher low V1. On the bright side, it had a V1. On the bright side, it rejected the -1 ATR channel. So my criticism is that it didn't really, it's better if you move into the value zone a little higher and then have 2 days down before a V1 or a V2. This barely went in, came right back down. So that would be my criticism. Quad says, thank you, Greg. Yes, it is called simplified Bassin. So if anybody's interested in fishing and want to see Quad in person, go over to Simplified Bassin on YouTube. I'm also on Instagram at simplified.bassin. Well, there you go. Thanks for that, Quad, and I hope that channel is doing well. David says, I like DNG too. I would wait for a little bit more sideways motion. Yeah, either more sideways motion or I really wanted to see it move up a little higher, a couple days higher, and then a little bit of a pullback for a couple days before the higher low V1. This was just down 1 day down. Kind of hard to explain, but I just would have liked to seen it move up here higher and then had a couple days down. Remember that cycle with 2 days down? You get 1 day down, 2 days down, then a lot of times you get the reversal. So this was just 1 day down. But who knows? I hope this goes up, bud. Zach says DKNG had a proposed public offering on 10/8 for $52, caused it to drop almost $10 over the next few days. Interesting. Quad says, I noticed there are patterns within the market. We see a large number of stocks rise above value and then they all begin to correct over the course of a couple weeks. That's right. I always talk about everything goes above value, back into value. That's why I don't like to buy up here. The news sounds good up here. Everything looks good. Headlines are good. Everybody's feeling good about stuff, but I've just done this so long that, you know, usually you get up here to this third ATR channel, 70 RSI, you come back to value, came back to value, we moved up again here. Sentiment was fantastic up here, but usually when sentiment's the best, you're near the top. Much better to wait for things to go on sale. Dr. Alexander Elder, the two keys to his trading are wait for something to be above value, buy it when it gets back to value, or buy something under value, sell it when it gets back to value. So when it's in a nice uptrend, I wait for a pullback to value and then try to sell it above value. If we're very low and I try to buy it under value, usually when it gets back to value, that's when I sell it. Gary's at a Coke. All right, Gary, it looks like you locked some of that, or looks like you are profitable there. Johan, NVAX was today at 111.17. 111. Wow. Okay. Okay. I got that corrected. Frank says, you guys know how skittish I am in the month of October. Yep. Well, we have the election coming up. We have all sorts of stuff coming up for sure. You know, I told you I was listening to the article, or I was listening to a video from Larry Williams, who I've studied with, and he's a very famous trader. He's been trading for 60 years. And he does a lot of analysis on elections and what the market does and so forth. Almost always the market rallies into the election. Not every single year, but a large majority. But the analysis that he's done is... Now I'm trying to remember. If the market is higher than where the market was in September, the incumbent usually wins. If we're lower than we were in September, the challenger wins. And right now, well, I guess it depends. Well, we're higher than this part of September, but not this part of September, so I guess it's unclear. Yep. Okay. Let's see what's going on in after hours action. Lockheed Martin is unchanged. Qs are up 28 cents. SPY is up 30 cents. That's a good start to the SPY trade. And AT&T is even. Okay. Well, interesting day today. Boy, we were all over the place, weren't we? All over the place. All right. Okay. All right. Well, listen, I'm going to go out for a hike. It's a beautiful day out here. I'm trying to take advantage of as many beautiful days left before the real fall comes in, and I've got to bundle up like a snowman every time I go out. So I'm going to go for a hike, listen to a little Girl from Ipanema playlist that I have, which is so good. And then I'm going to dinner tonight with a friend of mine. An old friend of mine, actually old girlfriend of mine. So we're going to go out. That'll be fun to catch up. So thanks for coming today. Please try to go out and do something nice for somebody today. Just something simple, just a smile, wave, hold the door open, give them a hand. If we all did that every day, it'd be a much better world. And if you could also try to go out and do something nice for an animal today, any kind of animal, they would appreciate it, I would appreciate it, and it will make their day. It really will. Just give them a walk or talk to them, give them a nice little pat on the head or a little scratch on the neck, give them a little treat, or just a nice little act of kindness for an animal. They would certainly appreciate it, I promise you. So, okay. Kamal says, thank you. You're welcome, Kamal. Gary says, thanks. Greg, thank you, Gary. Dan, happy day, everyone. Happy day, Dan. Johan, happy day, everyone. Jose says, thank you, Greg. Great session. Thank you, Jose. I appreciate that. So, listen, if you like today's podcast, if you hit the thumbs up button, that'd be awesome. That'd be really great to be appreciated. And again, if you're interested in lessons with me, just reach out to me. We'll have that Skype call, okay? So, okay. Well, I think that's it. Have a good rest of your day. Be good. Be safe. Study some charts, right? Study some charts up. If you don't have anything to do, study your charts. It never can hurt. Kamal says, number 12 tomorrow. Oh, trust me. I'm like laser beam focused on trying to keep this streak alive. The key is just to, take the trades when you have them and, know that it can't go on forever, but it's a pretty good streak. Frank says, tell that to the bear. Well, that's true. You got to be somewhat discerning in what animals that you're going to do something nice for. I ran into 2 cougars, Frank, one night, about 2-3 in the morning, and I heard this cry, and I didn't know what it was. So I got on my bike, my mountain bike. I rode up there. I came around the bend, and I had my, little miner's helmet on, and there were 2 cougars looking right at me. I had interrupted their lovemaking, and they were not happy about it. And man, they growled at me. It just went right through me. Like every instinct in my body, I wanted to just get on the bike and just pedal away as fast as I could. But I knew they'd catch me. So I just slowly got off the bike, put the bike in front of me, and just talked to them and said, I don't want any problems. I'm sorry for interrupting the action here. And I tried to be as soothing as possible, but I guess it worked because I'm still here. So anyway, okay, well, that's it. Have a good rest of your day, everyone. Okay, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye. U.S. government required disclaimer. Stock, options, futures, and forex trading is not appropriate for everyone. While there is a potential for large rewards, there is also a substantial risk of loss associated with trading. The material in this video or live broadcast is not geared towards any particular individual or to any particular financial situation and is not intended to meet the particular investment objectives of any viewer. This video or live broadcast, like all instructional materials produced by Gossett Trading and Mentoring LLC, is created and published for informational and educational purposes only. Any and all information contained in, implied, or referenced by this video or live broadcast is not to be construed as investment advice, and no representation is made that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast is an investment or financial advisor or is registered or authorized to give any financial advice. We are publishers and educators only. Therefore, the various producers of this video or live broadcast will not accept liability for any loss or damage of any kind which may arise either directly or indirectly out of the use of any of this material, including any loss of profit. No representation is made that any account or investment will or is likely to achieve the profit or losses demonstrated. We recommend consultation with a licensed and qualified professional before making any investment decision. This video or live broadcast is not to be construed as an offer to buy or sell any security, financial instrument, or financial product of any kind. Notice is hereby given that any individual or entity involved in production of this video or live broadcast or their clients may have an interest in any security, financial instrument, or financial product mentioned or referenced. Any simulated or hypothetical performance result depicted does not represent actual trading and therefore may under or overcompensate for the impact of various market factors such as lack of liquidity. Thank you.